right, Sandy says read. Welcome back to the channel. All right, tonight we are going to do a review and discussion of Kill the Queen by Jennifer Estep. This is the first novel in the Crown of Shards series. And let's see, I took notes, you guys. It is 443 pages. This was published in 2018. That's going to come into play in a minute here. Published in 2018 by Harper Voyager, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. Okay, quick synopsis. Evie is our main character. She is a cousin to the Queen Cordelia, and on the back cover flap it tells you that Cordelia dies in the first part of the book. So I'm not giving away too much of a spoiler by telling you Cordelia dies. All right, the Queen gets killed right off the bat. In the first part of the story, she gets massacred. The first part of the story is titled The Royal Massacre, and boy, it is. But Cordelia is among those killed, so her daughter, Vasilia, steps into the role of queen. Evie isn't killed despite the attempt, and she goes into hiding among a gladiator troupe where she is trained to return and seek her place on the throne. And that's our book. You know that on this channel, I do not drag authors. I do not drag books. There is always something positive that you can find in a book. So we're going to talk about a bunch of positive stuff in this story. I am going to give this caveat because this book reads an awful lot like a young adult novel. There's the premise is very much young adultish. For example, Vasilia, the gal, excuse me, sorry, I've got something going on here. The antagonist, the bad guy, Vasilia, she acts very much like a psychopath. Okay, you know, we did a video on here for the Joe Navarro book, Dangerous Personalities. I'll give you a link to that below. I think that Joe Navarro would classify Vasilia as a dangerous personality. She would be a dangerous narcissist. She would be a predator. But Evie, I just get the feeling that Evie, well, and she states it outright at one point in the book, her modus operandi is to take vengeance on Vasilia because Vasilia was her bully growing up. And that just had a very young adult theme feel to me when there are so many good reasons why Evie needs to take that chick out. So many good reasons why, and that's really the only beef I guess I have with the novel. Evie is not a young adult character. She's 28 years old, and we learned that pretty far into the book. I wrote it down because it startled me. I was reading this in the airport on my way home from a business trip, and I reacted when I discovered that she was 28 years old. I reacted and I suddenly realized, oh, I'm in public. Anyway, I wrote down what page that happens on, and now I've lost it. But be that as it may, I want to talk about some really cool things, though, that go on in this book, other than that young adult feel for an adult character. The rest, there's really good stuff happening in this book, okay? Good writing, in some passages, and I'm going to read a couple of those for you. There's some really good stuff happening in here. So I don't want you guys to feel like I'm dragging this book, because I'm not, and I'm certainly not dragging the author. Not at all, because good stuff happening, a good story. It did keep me going. The story did keep me going through. We're there. Okay. I wrote down some things that we want to talk about. Okay, examples. Evie, when she's in this massacre that's taking place, she moves and she gets a child off to safety. She does, you know, pick herself up and get things moving. So she's not just sitting back and, you know, she's not just a little Pollyanna. You know, she's making some stuff happen to protect others. And that's really the core of the type of queen that she's going to be. You know, the Winter Queen is someone who protects others, and we're going to see that grow in her throughout the book. She will protect others, and she will step up and take care of someone else before herself. as she should do, and that's a good thing. That's a good trait of this character, and we see that grow during the novel, which is very nice. Now, okay, the got my notes here. The fact that this was published in 2018 is coming into play here because there is a scene in here where poor Evie is having to perform duties in the castle that she doesn't want to perform. You know, she's not next in line to the throne. She's like 17th or 18th in line to the throne. Okay, she's just a cousin of a cousin of a cousin, right? So she has to do things that, you know, she doesn't really want to. And so she makes a comment, you know, about dance, monkey dance, you know, like they're making her do these things she doesn't want to. And when I read that line, my brain went to the song by Tones and I, you know, the Dance Monkey song. My brain went there and I thought, oh my God, why did her editor not take this line out? Well, it's because this was published in 2018. The song wasn't released until like May of 2019, right? So it is not the editor's fault. It is not Jennifer Estep's fault that line made that song come to my mind. It is not their fault that happened. It's just unfortunate that happened. It's unfortunate that such a thing came about in after the book was published. I feel sorry for her actually that happens because, you know, when you're writing something, you don't know the future. You don't know what's going to happen in the future and how it's going to affect the way people read and react to your stuff from the past. It's such a shame, but there you go. That phrase took me out of the story, but I dove right back in. So the world building is done so well that I did just cruise right back into the story after that line. And it's no fault of the authors. It's not their fault. Okay, let's see. There was some stuff in here that was just excellent, wonderful, that I wanted to read for you guys just to share. And where did it happen? Okay, page 11. There is an excellent passage in here that I want to read to you guys to kind of give you a feel for some of the almost poetic language that Jennifer has in here for you. All right. Under the watchful eye and careful direction of the king's cousin, I had slit open. Oh, I should probably give you a little background to this. This is told in first-person point of view. Evie is giving sort of a detailed description of one of the obnoxious events that she had to go do because, you know, she's not next in line for the throne. She has to do whatever she's told to go do. All right, here we go. Under the watchful eye and careful direction of the king's cousin, I had to slit open the boar's side and root it around through all sorts of slimy, squishy things better left to the imagination. The stench of blood and guts had almost knocked me over, but I'd found the liver, pulled it out, and eaten the smallest bite that was considered polite. Then, while the king's cousin and the rest of his contingent were enthusiastically butchering and grilling the rest of the boar, I had slipped away and thrown up in the potted golden persimmon tree they had brought the queen as a sign of friendship. It had been the closest container, and I'd shifted the dirt around inside the bucket to hide what I'd done. The king's cousin had been very disappointed that the tree had died a few days later. And it's just... it's poetic. It's describing the scene. I mean, you see it, you smell it, you feel it, you're right there with her. And then it's got this little twist of humor at the end. Well done. I enjoyed little passages like that throughout the book. It was quite well done in that way. Let's see. What else did I want to share with you guys? No, I did. Yeah, I was kind of thrown off by one thing that happened in the second section of the book. The tone abruptly changes. I mean, we have this tone that feels very young adult in the first part. I mean, Evie's giving the story. It's her point of view. And in the second part, we're still in her point of view. But all of a sudden, she is this sarcastic, odd... It just changed, totally changed when she met a guy in this gladiator troupe. And it shook me. It startled me. It was suddenly different, very strange. But she only had that tone when dealing with this character Sullivan, luckily. I mean, she went back to her natural self, the self that we saw in the first part of the book, the self that I liked when she was dealing with other characters and when she was meeting new friends and making a solid, real friend. which was good. I liked seeing Evie make a real solid friend in the gladiator troop. That was very, very welcome. I'm happy I saw that. Oh, and something else that kind of took me out of the story, which is no fault of the authors. It's my own thing. On page 23, one of the cooks in the kitchen is telling Evie, let's see, and how many times? Oh no, this is Albus. A metal worker is telling Evie, and how many times have I told you that we're not paid to think? We're paid to design what the client wants, right down to the garishly colored stones. I totally relate to that. My job, yeah, when we have to do marketing stuff, yeah, I relate. I feel you. Okay. What else did I need to share with you guys about this? The story is well thought out. The idea of Evie, getting away from, well, the way she gets away from the massacre, I don't want to spoil that for you. It's integral to her power, and I don't want to give that away. I want you guys to read it, enjoy it, feel it. When she gets away, she does go to that gladiator troop. She seeks them out, and becomes a part of their group, and that's important. She gets in there, and she starts to grow, and she starts to learn how to fight, and learn how to take care of herself, and learn how to stand up for herself, and she's growing through that, and I'm so pleased with that arc. Good stuff, good story, kept me going. I was able to clip all the way through it because of Evie's arc and the way she was getting through there. And Jennifer did a really good job of following Chekhov's law. I mean, the very opening scene of Evie making pies, and we start out a book making pies. Oh, it's so important, and we use those pies in the next act. The metalworking, we use that. There are many things in that first section that you get introduced, and you're thinking, why is this important? Is this going to come back later? Yeah, it does, because Jennifer knows how to use Chekhov's law very well. So I was pleased with the story. Pleased. There are 2 more books in the series. If I had a smaller to be read pile, I might go grab them right now, but I don't know. I have more than one TBR pile, so we'll see how that goes. There you go, guys. Enjoyed the book. What do I need to go? That's it. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this. If this wasn't too random and crazy for you, thumbs up. Please hit the bell icon so you know the next time I do some random crazy thing. That's it. You guys enjoy, and I'll see you next time.